What's going on YouTube? Y'all excuse me this afternoon. Just getting back off of my route and just wanted to kind of, do a little story time today. Since we technically today was my last day of school, but we're gonna go into a little more detail of how that ensued also. So today was a little interesting. And guys, excuse me, I got a cough drop in. My allergies been kicking up. Um, Today we did what we call in service or end of the year, like where we kind of celebrate the year and making it all the way through and everything like that. Um, but like I said, I had my route to do also today, and we'll get into that in a second. Well, the way this works is if you haven't if you're just getting into becoming a school bus driver, usually at the end of the year, it's like a celebration where we kind of get together and we'll kind of make it like a training session, and we'll go over some things, make sure make brush up on some things, make sure you're good to go. That way, when some of the drivers that are going to be doing summer school, they're ready to go, and just so you can have something fresh in your mind right before you go on to summer break. So we did that this morning, and then immediately after, we had like almost like I would call it a carnival day, with the theme of Greece, which was really cool, and a lot of the different departments throughout the school district actually came out and joined in with us, which was awesome, because we got to see a lot of people that were fellow drivers and monitors that have moved on to other departments. We got to kind of rekindle that friendship and see them again, which was awesome. Um, so after that event happened, I had to go back to my route and pick up for the afternoon. Now this morning I did not run the route because with me being a trainer, we have to be there really early to kind of set things up and make sure everything's in place so that when all the drivers and monitors begin to arrive, that we can go right into training and make sure that they get a real thorough experience and thorough training when we're doing that segment. So that went off without a hitch. We had a blast. I should have brought my little cue cards in. Some of them I was thrown for a loop today because we were going over pre-trip with these little strips of index cards, and you had to actually describe what you're looking for. Pretty much the videos I've been showing y'all, trying to help you to get ready to take your road test. The videos I've been helping you with, I was trying to brush them up on some of those things too, because some drivers it's been years, and then in our case, some of our senior drivers that have been here over 20 years. A lot of them were grandfathered in, meaning that they never had to do all the things that we've had to do, the road test, the pre-trip. They knew how to check the bus, but they didn't have to learn all the components and what they're looking for and things like that. Like we have to know now. They were grandfathered in and got to kind of skip that part, which was really good to kind of get them freshened up. And it was good getting one-on-one because a lot of them actually said that this is good. Um, we should incorporate this some more because I want to learn more about what I should be checking, what it should be looking like. And so from that, we already have decided we're going to implement that more so going into our next school year. So from there, we'll go into the route. So I'm talking to my kids, and this is just a normal day. Well, it was snack day. I'll put that out there too. So usually on every other Friday, I'll do snack day. And so I did snack day today with them, and it went uneventful. We were having fun, playing some music, and just chit chatting. And they were telling me a couple little things about what went on with the driver. Like if you are a driver, you know that usually when somebody else does your route, your kids have a whole bunch of stories to tell when you get back, and they're telling you all the things that the other driver did, what they didn't do, what I do that they didn't do, and things like that, which was kind of amusing. So we got pretty much going through the route, and we're going through, and they were talking about next week, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna do something special. So usually what I do is usually I do something special on the very last day. But these kids that I've had this year, they have been extraordinary. I mean, I've rarely had an issue with these kids. I've only had, I believe, one referral, if I could think of it. There's only been one referral that I've had to do, and so they really have went above and beyond. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go a little above beyond for this year too. So the next few days, I'm going to go ahead and I'll go ahead and do something special each day. Um, which which is some like I don't know too many that do something special each day. I know many do something on the last day, and that's a really good thing. And it really warms your kids' hearts to know that you care that much about them, that you want to do something special for them on that last day. And so with that, we were talking about the next few days and how we're gonna make it special and how they've been really good. And I would love to have them on the bus with me next year. And I'm praying, and keep my fingers crossed. I'm praying that next year I do get them back because they have been amazing. They're really good kids, and their parents have been so proactive. So whenever I've had like a little small behavior issue, we've nipped it in the bud right there. It's really been a awesome school year with these kids. And so the reason I was like, before I could even get changed or anything, I wanted to come in while my emotions were still kind of raw, was because it goes back to what I was saying at the very beginning. Today technically is the end of the school year. So technically, summer school would start next week. What was unaware to me, and I think this just comes down to sometimes when you become part of transportation, the logistics of getting things done sometimes kind of does not mesh well with the communication. So the logistics of summer school had begun to roll, but the communication of what that meant for drivers that routes with drivers with routes that are continuing for an additional week, what it meant for us was that our route was becoming a summer school route, which was unaware to me. And what this did was it was a lot of emotions. So I'm trying not to get sugarcoated or get all spiked on emotions again. It was a roller coaster, and the reason it was a roller coaster was because in this moment when there was a a breakdown in the communication of your route is being converted over into a summer school route. Remember what I just said a few seconds ago. I had made plans with my kids and made plans to myself of what I was going to do for them for the next 4 days, because they only have 4 days left of school. And what was going on, unbeknownst to me, and had already been set into motion, was that my replacement was going to be starting my route on Monday. And I go in, I come back off the route, and it was time my bus was low on fuel, so it was time to fuel it up. So I went to fuel it, and when I got back to fuel it and start the pump, I just so happened to look at my phone and I saw that I had a missed call from the base. So I stepped away from the pump and took the call. Well, when I took the call, they were calling me to inform me that today was my last day with my kids, not next week. So I was like, what do you mean? I didn't even get to tell my kids goodbye. My kids are under the impression that they're going to see me on Monday. I'm like, I just told them, bye, see you later, have a good weekend. I'll see you on Monday. My kids were about to be devastated as much as I was. And I think sometimes we like really don't really don't value, I guess. I'm trying to think of a real strong word to put it into context. We don't really look at the relationship that you develop with these kids. Even though I have my own 3 kids at home, these have become my kids. I've watched them grow up. I've watched them mature. Some of them were really immature, but they've grown up and gotten better throughout the year. I've watched them struggle through certain subjects, and now they excel in them. I've seen them rebound from different things going on at home, different things going on at school. I've seen them. I've seen some of them start liking somebody. Next thing you know, they like somebody else, and now they like somebody else, and it's hilarious the things you go through with these kids, and so it was amazing to me the amount of devastation, I guess you could say, that hit my heart when they told me, and I'm trying not to get all emotional again, that I wasn't going to be able to tell them goodbye and spend the last 4 days with my kids before the summer hits. It really was like pulling the rug from underneath my feet. I I took the call and I was like, okay, well, and like I'm trying to be smiling right now, but I was not smiling at the moment. At the moment, I was kind of. The more she explained it, the more upset I was getting, and I was like, well, don't worry about it. I'm on my way in the office, and we're gonna talk about this because this don't sound right, and so that's when I get in the office, and they're breaking it down to me, and they're like, well, unfortunately, your route runs into the summer school, but for dependability purposes, we need to ensure that that route is covered. So we converted your route into a summer school route and have assigned it to another driver to continue that route until it ends on Thursday. And then I guess from there, they had chosen that route. And so because they had got to choose that route, they were going to continue through the summer. Now, granted, if I would have been given the option, which I don't know, that's a whole nother story, which I don't want to get into. I don't want to ruffle no feathers, but that was a whole nother thing that kind of happened too. Usually during the summer, I pick a route, but this year, due to some circumstances, they decided that they did not want the trainers to actually take a route this year, and they wanted us to just solely focus to training. So, with that being said, they were like, okay, we'll just put his route up for bid like the rest, and let it ride, and we'll figure it out that way. So they decided they were going to change the route over and have someone else do it. This hurt me deeply because, like I just told you, we spent the last part of the ride after we left the school discussing all the different things that we were going to do next week. And it hurt. And I didn't realize how much it hurt, and I'm trying not to weld up now. I didn't realize how much it hurt for somebody to tell me that I was not going to be able to tell my kids goodbye until I was hearing those actual words. And the fact that they were telling me that I was not going to be able to do it, finish my route out. And I was like, I don't understand. I've been faithful here. And see, I'm trying not to get welded up. I don't, because I don't get on here often. I usually just get on here. I do a video about what's going on, for training purposes. But I usually don't get on and just give y'all like a from me to you moment. But I guess this one kind of I was kind of letting y'all in today. Um, this job, this job is more than just driving, picking up kids and dropping them off. Pick them up, take them to school, drop them off. It's more than that. Um, you become an impact to these kids. Um, they depend on you. They trust you, and when you say something to them, they hold you to that. And so, I guess part of it that was hurting me was I felt like because my hands were tied that I was hurting my kids by not being able to keep my word to them. And I didn't want to do that to them. I didn't want to be another person in their life that didn't stand up for what they said they were going to do. And so I took it hard. They were trying to calm me down in the office, and I was like, this ain't right. This is not right. Y'all shouldn't do this to me. And I was like, it would be different if I missed a day. I've never missed. And my wife could tell you almost begrudgingly that I never miss. I will work the entire school year from day one to the end. And I will never take off. I will work my doctor's appointments, everything that goes on in my life outside of that bus. I work around that. I work it around it. And I work it around it because kids depend on me. Parents depend on me. And my school depends on me. And not only them, my family and transportation depends on me. Because if I'm not there, somebody's got to pick up the slack for me. And so I'm telling you that, especially for y'all that are just getting into this, that's something you really need to think about going into becoming a driver. Are you really willing to be dependable? Because the thing about it is, most of us are in school 183 days. That's like less than a full year. But the thing, it's less than a full year, but those dates, for some reason, it seems impossible for somebody to be able to be faithful that entire time. They don't ask for my type of faithfulness. Some people are just that committed. And when it comes down to me, it may be to a fault, but that's my commitment level. But you have to look at this job that way. That when you decide, oh, my head hurts, oh, I don't feel good, oh, I'm just gonna stay in the bed. Somebody's kid is standing on the corner there waiting on you. And I guess for me today, when they told me I wasn't going to be able to do what I've always done, which is start a route and complete it at the end of the year, it hurt. And it hurt because I felt like I was failing my kids, and I felt like I was failing myself because I felt like this is not me. This is not something that I normally do. I'm faithful to whatever I do, faithful to a fault. And so maybe that's something that you need to think about before you really jump into this position, and not even just that you're jumping into this position, but that's something that you have to think about as a commitment and dependability. There are kids that are walking to the bus stop. Let's say they get on the bus at 7:45. They're coming there at 7:45, depending on you to be there at somewhere between 7:45 and 7:55 or 7:50. They're waiting on you to come within that time frame, pick them up, and safely get them to school. People depend on you. There are parents that work, and they work their schedule around their kids' pickup time for the bus and the drop-off. So when you don't show up, automatically, the moment that you don't show up for a route, it automatically is going to run behind. even though you've mastered it. After about a few days, it may seem like, oh my God, this is like 6 pages of turns, turn by turn. You're going to master it in a few days. And you're going to have it down to where it's in your head. You're gonna have visual landmarks. You're going to know street corners. You're going to know, okay, when I get to this yellow house right here, I know I'm making a left. I know when I get to this stop sign right here with the dog that's always barking with the beware dog sign, I know I'm making a right here. Those things are going to get embedded in your mind. What that does is that speeds you up with efficiency. The more efficient you are, the more they're going to depend on you, because now you've shown and proven yourself that now I know this route. And because I know this route, now it's running like clockwork. That means that parent can depend on you every morning, Monday through Friday, hitting that spot at the same time over and over again. They get consistent. They get consistent with you, and they depend on you. So when you're told that you're not going to be able to do something that people depend on you for, it hurts. And so it did. And I can't sit there and say it didn't. And say a minute ago my eyes was getting all welted up because I was sitting there thinking about it again, and it made me want to tear up again, because when I think of my kids depending on me to show up on Monday and then I not show up, that's devastating to them. Yesterday, when I knew that I had to do this training session this morning and I needed to be there and I was not going to be able to run my route, we had a long discussion from the moment that I pulled out of the school about what was going to happen tomorrow, who was going to be my person, my helper, and help them throughout the route, because she knew it down pat. Who is going, until she gets on, who is going to be taking care of it until we get to her stop. The kids that normally get on the bus late, I told them specifically what time they needed to be outside ahead of the pickup time, because I did not want them to not get picked up. We went through all of this just to prepare them for a change that was happening today. And then to get back and find out that not only was that a change this morning, then now I almost left out. They had already covered my route for this afternoon. So I went to the school to pick up, and I'm behind a bus that I had never seen in the line before. And so the administrator comes to the bus, and he's like, "Mr. Ross, I thought you weren't going to be here, because the bus in front of me just showed me a route sheet that has all your stops on it." And I was like, "Oh, no, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be here to the end of the school year." And they were like, "Oh, well, that bus was here to pick them up." It's like, "No, I got my kids. I got my kids for the rest of the year." And so now the school is like, "Oh, okay, Mr. Ross is going to take care of his kids. We ain't got nothing to worry about. Mr. Ross is always here. Mr. Ross is always communicating with us. We know we can depend on Mr. Ross to take care of business." Now they were getting ready to find out that Mr. Ross wasn't going to be there for the next 4 days, and that the new driver for the summer school was not only going to be starting the summer school, but was going to also be starting my route for the next 4 days. And so it just was a breakdown in communication, and that happens. It's nowhere to like point a finger and be like, "Okay, it's your fault, specifically you, because you made this decision. It's your fault." No, it's just a breakdown in communication, and unfortunately, being part of transportation and logistics, this is just one of the things that happens. You gotta imagine, they're like at our campus, we're running 200 plus buses on. Well, let me take that back. We're running almost 240 drivers and monitors on 100, I would say about 140, 150 routes. So you're running those drivers, and the reason why you got to have more drivers and monitors than you have routes is because everybody ain't gonna show up. And because of this undependability, sometimes there's a breakdown in the chain of communication, and sometimes the driver that needs to know things just don't find out. And unfortunately, when a driver like me that's super dedicated and is always communicating with their kids, with their parents, and with their school, and we put out one thing because we know what we're like, we know what we were supposed to do, what we signed up for, and then there a logistics change happens, but we weren't in the loop. Sometimes it just falls through the cracks that way. So it's no knock on my dispatch team. It's just sometimes that's the things that happens, and it's unfortunate. And I pray, I truly pray that this is a learning port, like, a learning step for us going forward to help. That we need to make sure that communication is paramount and that it's linear, meaning that as soon as it comes down the pipeline, it goes straight across. You don't want things going up and down to one person and trying to trickle to another person, then trickle to this person. It may get there, it may not, and it's up and down and through the valley and through the woods. You want it linear. So when that information is sent out, it's sent out flat across the curb, because that way everybody's on the same page. Now, yes, if I would have been notified that today would have been technically my last day with my students, then I could have planned this week out accordingly, and we could have just celebrated this week, and then none of this would have ever happened. But it wasn't what happened. But I wanted to really kind of speak with y'all, and I wasn't expecting it to take this long, but I guess we're just gonna do it's gonna do what it do. But the thing is, I wasn't expecting what happened today, and then I really wanted to talk to y'all because a lot of y'all, at some point, if you're already not in this point, are going to be in the same shoes as me. You're going to be a driver. You're going to have a route. They're going to put out changes to the route similar to mine, or they're going to make some kind of change, or some logistics are going to come up, and things are not going to go as planned. This is not the moment to be like, okay, I'm going to pack up my bags. I'm going to get all my stuff off my bus. I'm packing up. It's time to go. No, it's really not. It hurt. And I'm not going to sit here and try to sugarcoat it. It hurt. And I was offended, and I was upset, and I felt the tears welling up in my face, and I was trying to express how I felt about what was happening. And the more I talked about it, the more emotional I was getting. My eyes started welling, and I did not want to give them the sight of me crying about, and I didn't want the action to happen to me, because I was amazed that it was even happening, that I was starting to tear up. These kids have meant that much to me this year. And it's crazy to say, I love my babies, but I didn't expect it to prick my heart as much as it did, to not be able to tell them goodbye, and not to be able to spend the last 4 days of school with them before summer starts. In that moment, my eyes got real welded up, and I was like, I got to get out of here. I went on here and ran to the clock, and they were trying to talk to me, and I was like, I can't talk, I got to go. And I was I went out the door, and so fortunately, my routing supervisor was able to buzz me on the phone on the way home, and we were able to talk about it. And she was because she wasn't expecting what happened to kind of go the way it did. And so when she saw how much it they all saw how much it affected me, and how upset I got about what they were doing, they were like, okay, well, let's go look at this. And then when they started looking at the route itself, it really wasn't even complete. And they had a bunch of McKinney kids, which we'll probably do a segment on McKinney and McKinney-Vento, special needs. What's another one that we do? Head Start. We're going to start trying to incorporate a lot of those, so we can teach you about the different programs that you're going to be introduced to as a driver. But we were looking at the she was looking at the McKinneys, and they were incomplete. They were still adding kids to the route. So she was like, honestly, logistics wise, it only makes sense that you finish out the last 4 days, because technically the route ain't even, it's not even up and running and finished yet. We really kind of need you to do it anyway. And so she was like, just finish out the 4 days with your babies. Um, I'm sorry this even, she was like apologizing that this even happened. And she was like, we love you here. And I was like, I love y'all too. And like, I love where I work. I love transportation. I love SAISD. Um, I've had people try to come up to me and card me and try to show me a better light at another district. I've had them come up to me. I love where I'm at. I love my director. I love that. I love the trust that he gives me to be able to not only teach y'all these different things, but to be able to be a voice for some of the different programs that we've been implementing, like trying to go forward with the electric school bus program, looking at going back and looking at the propanes when we discussed those and the infrastructure for those. I haven't really been somewhere where my voice has been up, I guess, important enough to where they felt it added value to their decision making, and for that I'm eternally grateful. I cannot say enough about the place I work. I love SAISD and I love transportation. I love where I work. I don't even feel like it's work. I feel like it's a privilege to do what I do. I love to drive. I drove trucks for years, and even though I drove trucks, I enjoyed. That was probably my favorite job. This is becoming my favorite now, because I've done it longer, and not only have I done it longer, it's more impactful. I'm seeing kids that I've carried since they were in elementary school. I'm watching them grow up on my bus, watching them go to middle school, go to high school, graduate. I just had a senior that was special needs just graduate. I can't even wait. I gotta find out the date of his graduation next week, because I can't wait to go to be there at the end to be like, congratulations, I'm proud of you. I knew you could do this. These kids are impactful not only to your lives, but they just pouring into them. It pulls stuff out of you that you didn't even know you had, and so I take real pride and real joy in what I do. And so it really was an emotional day today, because I really had to kind of woosah a little bit. But this is what we do. This is why we do this. We do this. We do this job not just for, yes, we get paid for it, and to be honest, for what we do and for what we bring to the table, it should be far more. But we take what we get, and we take it in stride, and we continue on. But the thing about it is, what we do is so impactful to these kids. I've said it many times before. We're the first ones that they see in the morning, and usually the last ones that they see at night that represent the district. These kids sometimes get on the bus and they're going through things that you couldn't even imagine. Sometimes you're talking with them and telling them things are going to be okay, and you know you you got in trouble today at school, but we can have a better day tomorrow. Those things are encouraging to these kids, and some of these kids, they really look forward to this interaction with you. And so today it really hit home when they actually were trying to when they were actually now I ain't gonna say trying, they was telling me, your route is ended today, and you're not gonna get to say goodbye to your kids. I've already had that happen earlier this year to my high schoolers that I was picking up, and I didn't get to tell them goodbye. And I started another high school route. And once I started the other high school route, I grew, I kind of same thing with my small ones. I grew a relationship with them. We were getting cool. We dapping each other up as they get on the bus, dapping as they get off and stuff. And then you see some of them hugged up. I knew you was liking her, and you was up there trying to play it off like you was on the other seat. I saw you smiling at her and kept talking to her. I saw you, and so we started to get rapport and like friendship with these kids. Like not, I ain't gonna say a friendship. Yeah, I'll say a friendship. We kind of we kind of become close. And so yesterday when I had to tell them goodbye, it was awesome because they were like, "Man, you gonna be our bus driver next year?" And I'm like, "Dog, I don't even know." And they're like, "Man, you got to be the bus driver next year, man. Your bus is the best bus we have been on." It's like, I know, but I don't know. It's up to them. I gotta see what they want to do, and so it's things like that that really encourage you as a driver that what you're doing is working and it's impactful on these kids. And so sometimes we need to hear that same feedback. Just like we're giving that encouragement to them, sometimes you'll get it back from them. Like that child that you've been saying hello and goodbye to all year long, that finally at the end of the year finally says good morning and goodbye to you. And they ain't said it the whole time. You're like, golly, look at it. I finally got him. Finally did it. It's things like that. So I guess I don't want this to become like a tangent, but I just wanted to come to y'all and kind of throw some things out there while my emotions were still raw of how impactful this job is and how much they depend on you. Because I don't know about your district, if you're already at a school district or you're starting at a school district. I want you to know this right now. People are dependent on you. If you know you're in training right now, you know you cannot be dependable. You ain't been faithful to no job. This is either your chance to step up or step down. Because what's happening now is when you said you signed those papers, and you said that I want to become a part of transportation at your district, you told them that I'm going to be dependable and that you can depend on me to be here to pick these kids up. And when you're not, everybody suffers. Because when you're not at work, me and the other drivers at your district, we got to pick up the slack. And we don't know your route like you do. We don't know your kids like you do. You run that route special to them and you. And it may not seem like it, but that's how that route runs because you do it. It's unique to you. And when somebody else tries to do it, nobody can do it like you. And so that's why I want to emphasize practice faithfulness, especially if you were lacking in it this school year. This is your opportunity to bounce back. It's during the summertime when there is no real demand because I ain't gonna say there's no real the demand is not as high, and you can actually take off when you need to because right now you're out of. For most districts, you're out of the contract. This is usually voluntary work. So because this is voluntary work and it's got an option to it, let's see if you could be faithful to the option. Even though you got the option to just bail out and not be there. Let's see if you could be the option of dependability. So that's what I wanted to come to y'all with today. That as much as you may try to keep a wall of separation between you and these kids, and as much as they may be knuckleheads and not want to listen all the time, and they may talk back and say something smart, and they may cuss at you and all of this, you're making an impact on these kids' lives. But it's up to you to do it the right way. And unbeknownst to you, you may be in the same boat as me. All of a sudden, they tell you something that's changing on your route, and then you really get to see what these kids meant to you. I already knew that, like, I love my kids. I know that I treat them like my own kids at home, and I already knew they held a special place. But today really kind of brought it home to me that, hey, this is for real, and these kids mean a lot to you, and they should mean a lot to you because you're carrying somebody else's child. And I would want somebody that's carrying my children to have the same regard and reverence for them as I've taken. I would want them to have that much respect for me, to want to take care of my kids and want to be dependable for my kids and want to be consistent for my kids and want to be a good role model for my kids, want to encourage my kids, want to be respectful to them, want to greet them, tell them goodbye when they're going home, talk to them when they're going through things. They want that. I would want that for my kids, and so that's what I would expect for somebody to. You gotta do what you expect. If you expect somebody to do those things for your child, then you gotta practice those same things for these kids here. And so I just wanted to put that out today. I know usually y'all don't get to see me because I'm using that I usually don't get behind the camera. I try to stay off to the side and let the training work do the work. But today I just had that heavy on my heart, and I just wanted to put that out there because sometimes we really forget the impact that these kids may have on us and the impact that we have on them. But it's an impact. You're important. You're a critical part of your transportation team. You're a critical part of your district. People depend on you. And yes, you may not get thank yous and all the accolades that you may deserve. But I'm here to tell you that people depend on you. They're grateful for what you do. Even though sometimes it may feel like this is a thankless job, I'm here to tell you thank you for what you did this year. Thank you for what you're going to do this summer. Thank you what you're going to do when this next school year starts. Thank you for the years that you've already put in. Thank you for the years that you're going to put in. If you're retiring or just thinking about retiring, thank you for the years that you've given to these kids and poured into their lives, because it may not seem like it made an impact, but somebody was touched by something you did or something you said. And so we have to not disregard those things, and we have to look at this position with a humbleness and a gratefulness that we were able to even be awarded the privilege to be able to carry these kids. And like I said before, I solely believe we should get more. We should be making more, but we're kind of at the constraints of a district. If the district can't afford to give you more, then the district can't afford to give you more. But that doesn't mean that these kids deserve any less. All right, y'all. So we'll be hitting up some more videos, and I'll since it's the summertime, I'm gonna try to put up as many as I can. Try to maybe like even once every other day or at least once a week. I'm gonna try to knock out some more videos. If you got any requests for videos, please put them in the comments so that I can start building up some videos and some clips to anything that you need throughout this process. I know I may not be a part of your district, but I'm a part of your transportation family, because we all, even though we may be in different cities, different states, different countries, we're all supporting the same thing, getting these kids safely from point A to point B, and changing their lives in the midst of that. So, if you need anything training wise, just let me know. Whatever I can do for you, whatever I can answer, whatever I can supply you with that'll help you get through this training process, or if you're already through training to be successful at this, I'm here for it. Just let me know what you need. Just put it down in the comment sections, and I'll reach out to you and let you know as soon as I can get it done. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good evening. Goodbye.